Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey Wednesday. And Burton, you were recently on here. Welcome back again.
A couple weeks ago.
This is Andrew Burton, and he used to work at the store. This is actually really fun for me. We've worked together for a long time in different aspects. But what's cool today is we're doing our Maker's Mark Private Select editions. So we have 23 and 24 we're going to try back to back. And also wanted to say, if anybody has any questions or comments they'd like to shoot out to us, we can answer questions live. We're both really knowledgeable, especially this guy. He was our spirits manager for a really long time.
I drank a lot of whiskey.
And actually was the first one to start this private select for Argonaut back in the day. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
If anybody's not familiar with the Maker's Mark program, it's just vastly different than anybody else's in the market. Basically, you go out there, you have different whiskeys finished with different types of staves. The staves are all the same American oak, but they're all treated in different ways. So some are toasted, some are charred, and they all produce different flavors. So basically, you go in, you kind of create a recipe from these different stave finished whiskeys. That then equals the barrel and tells you what staves you're going to be throwing in your own barrel. So it's a fully aged, fully completed Maker's Mark barrel of whiskey. You add the staves, you age it for about another 6 weeks, and then when they pull it out, you have the unique whiskey that you've created. So it's a little bit different than just picking a barrel, just because you really have a fingerprint on it, and it really kind of shows your tastes and your skills at blending.
Yeah, and as it's developed over the years, they've added different staves, like the French Mendiant, which is one of my favorites now. But yeah, it's just such a cool program. And over the years, Andrew's done one. Like last year, Justin and Josh did one. This year, Josh and I did this one. And we all kind of, like you said, put our own little stamp on it. So let's give it a shot. We're doing 2023 first to just kind of compare the two. What do you get on the nose?
I get a nice big cinnamon roll. I get that kind of bready cinnamon sort of quality, and even some of that icing, a little bit of vanilla and so forth.
The confection cookie icing.
I think the palate pretty much follows. Not overly spicy, definitely a little bit more on the sweet side.
The one you very first did, remember our old general manager, he was like, Andrew's is way better than the one you guys went out and did because his is spicy. And
mine was very spicy. I really
spicy.
Leaned into the spicy, but I like my whiskey spicy. I like it sweet too, but this is very nice.
Yeah, that's a crowd pleaser for sure. I mean, just something you could drink every day.
What proof are we at? 108 proof. Wouldn't even drink it. I would guess mid 90s if I had to guess. So very soft for a high proof.
And then since this one's older, it's coming in at $59.99. Very different on 24. And it's fun. I mean, you come in and you can see the different staves that we used on the front of the label. And what's weird too is whenever you do these, you'll add something that says spice on it and it'll make it sweeter. Or like the P2, the pure, it's supposed to be a sweeter stave, but if you add too many of them, it'll make it spicy.
Well, and it's not an exact science either. Like you come up with your recipe and that's what you're tasting. That's not going to equal exactly what the staves thrown in the barrel and then brought out another 6 weeks later will be. It gives you kind of a concept, but those flavors kind of marry together a little bit different. Usually water will affect it pretty differently. So it's just an interesting experimental program that nobody else is offering.
And your blending skills go down a little bit after you've blended 4 or 5 different barrels.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the possibilities for recipes are really just about endless.
You could set 1 million.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I love Maker's Mark. It was probably my first premium whiskey love. I've always been a big fan of the wheat stuff, and Maker's just always spoke to me. I love it's got a little punch to it. I like that. And this is definitely drier.
It's dry. It's a lot more oak on the nose. And it's got a front palate spice that this really didn't have any spice at all.
Yeah, char. I definitely get the char of the barrel in there, a little smokier, a little spicier on the backside. Still a nice cinnamon, but that's one of my favorite flavor profiles. So
yeah, this is a little bit bigger, I would say. Probably a little bit more my speed, but they're both delicious.
Popping in about 110 and change, so a little bit higher than the other one, but still does not really drink that hot at all. You can move it around your mouth, swallow it, no problem. No real burn.
What do you think? Who wins, me or Justin? Because Josh was there for both of them.
Normally I would lean towards the spicier one, but I actually thought the sweet one was really nice. So
Cheers to you, Justin. Good job, buddy.
If I had to choose one right now, that's probably the one I'd take. But they're both great. Yeah, I think they're both great. I don't think I've ever had one by anybody that I didn't like. They're all just interesting because they're always going to be different. It's always going to be a different flavor profile. So it's just endless kind of possibilities and opportunities with it.
And the 24 is coming in at $69.99. So try them both. Let us know what you think. And then, this will give you extra entries into our lottery for the William LaRue Weller this month. So, Bert, you got some other stuff that we've got that's new, right?
Yeah. Next guy's up. This is pretty new to the state. So I'm with European Wine and Spirits. Yeah, you can bring them up. European Wine and Spirits, and we just picked up this brand here recently from Lexington, Kentucky. It's a gentleman named Macaulay Minton. He used to be the barrel program manager for Wilderness Trail. He found an investor, took off, and now they're pretty much working specifically with finishing. So everything is sourced from MGP. Unlike a lot of MGP stuff, they're doing some contracted recipes, so stuff that you can't just go in and buy. Both these particular guys are going to come in at about 7 years old, so good age to it. And really what they're leaning into is finishing. In this particular case, it's French oak finishing. French oak has always been a favorite of mine. Again, we were just talking about spicy. French oak tends to be on the spicy side of things. So in this particular case, it's a 7-year bourbon, and we've got 60, 36, 4. So 60% corn, 36% rye, 4% barley. And then it goes with the French oak staves just for the last few months of finishing. And it really makes a pretty big impact. French, again, is going to be dry. It's going to be savory.
That's got a big nose. There's a lot going on there.
Yeah. And that's really what they're known for. Again, they're sourcing everything contract distilling currently with MGP. They plan to work with some other distillers down the line, but it's their finishing program, which is where the dark arts reference comes from. It's kind of the alchemy of blending. It's the alchemy of finishing with different types of wood and coming up with different flavors. They've worked with everything from Mizunara, white port, red port, maple syrup, Amburana, French. I've got a list of about 20 different finishing woods they work with. So you can go in and buy private barrels, you can blend, you can straight up buy a 10-year-old barrel of MGP whiskey from them, which is absent in the market otherwise. There's nobody with stuff aged this well right now. So back to the French finish, I definitely get like cinnamon, there's some cherry, I get sort of a bready, biscuity sort of quality from it.
It's interesting on the palate. It's got almost a tannic structure to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you kind of want like a meat and cheese afterwards to clear your palate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's really delicious.
108 proof on the French one. They're kind of sticking to the higher proof generally.
Yeah, definitely on the more savory side for me. You like some red fruit as well, though?
Yeah, give a little red fruit.
Yeah.
Like I said, like cherries, kind of what I get up from.
Like a dark cherry.
And then the finish is a little bit more of the bready sort of qualities, kind of, again, cinnamon and kind of slightly pastry sort of things, but not really overly sweet. Just kind of spicy, kind of drying, kind of savory.
Good stuff. What do these cost?
That is a good question. I know what they cost you. Justin, you made the price tag.
I don't remember.
Fired. We're all fired. My guess is going to be that these are probably sitting around $84.99. Okay. So don't quote me, but should be in that region somewhere.
Mid-80s.
Yeah. Which, again, we're talking about 7-year age stuff in these two cases. Yeah. They also make a barely legal bourbon, which is just 51% corn. And that's a contract one from MGP that nobody else in the market is using that recipe. We'll look at that one, getting in that one down the line. But right now, we're on to the rye. Again, 7-year rye. In this particular case, it's your classic MGP recipe. So 95% rye, 5% barley, spicy, and then finished with an Amburana. Amburana can be kind of a polarizing wood in the whiskey world. A lot of times it had been used on bourbon, and I think a lot of those times kind of fell short just because you're taking an oak that makes things very sweet and adding it to something that's already very sweet, so it ends up just super sweet. In this case with the rye, it's perfect pairing. It really kind of is like a blanket around that spice, but then brings a lot of the sweetness. Really big palate on this guy. I mean, I'm getting cinnamon, vanilla, pudding, buttered toast sort of stuff. And I'm getting a note here from Justin saying $86.99, so I was close. On both of these will be $86.99 on the shelf for y'all.
It's dessert rye whiskey.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, because one of my favorite Amberana finishes we ever had was that Whistle Pig we did many years ago. And
got a question.
Yeah.
The blunt blend,
Blunt blend?
Pardon me?
I believe it's from Dark Arts. We have a question. Are we getting any of the blunt blend?
Oh, so I've heard of this. We don't have it in our system yet. I heard he's working on it. I haven't gotten any word that that's on a shelf anywhere yet. But the idea is it's a blunt blend. It's supposed to pair with cannabis well. There's no cannabis involved in the blend or anything like that, as far as I understand. But I don't have it in my system yet, so I don't have a whole lot of information on it. Again, these guys are rocking tons of different finishes. Literally like a list of just to give you a quick concept here on what their finishes are. And a lot of what they're aiming at is private barrels and finishes for bars that, or restaurants that nobody else has, or of course liquor stores. But here's kind of their short list of what I was able to find. Sherry, Armagnac, Pinot Noir, Calvados, Cab Sauce, Sauternes, Orange Wine, Tojiki Wine, Madeira, Red Port, White Port, Maple Syrup, Mizunara, and Sakura, which is Japanese cherry wood. So again, they're really leaning into the finishing sort of deal, and they're doing a good job of it. But the rye really, I think, is kind of the star of the show in this particular case.
This is fantastic. I mean, I don't know if this is allocated, but I'm definitely...
It's not allocated right now. We just got it into the state, and we're definitely moving it very well. People are embracing it. But the rye, I like the French for sure, but I think the rye is a really great place to start, particularly if you're into ryes. I mean, I'm getting peach cobbler, bitter honey, toasted wheat, clove, big red, like bubble gum. Like, it's just a lot going on. And the sweet and the spice is really well balanced. And
the rye spice keeps it away from being dessert bourbon, because some of them it's like I can take a couple, 3 sips and then
Sure.
I'm done. But I mean, I could have a few glasses of this. This would probably be great on the rocks too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did a great job. Definitely. And these also account towards the lottery this month for the Weller. And then, long video. Sorry, guys. Last but not least, we brought in these cool... You can talk about it.
Honorable mention here for Negroni. New company, small format can. Ideally, you should be sipping them over ice if you have the opportunity, but definitely cold. If you're a Negroni lover, you're going to love this stuff. We got a Mezcal Negroni and we got a Standard Negroni. Standard is made with Hood River London Dry Gin, so all real ingredients. They're using Koki Italian Sweet Vermouth.
Singles?
That's you.
To be determined.
We'll see. We're going to have the owners in today here in just about a half an hour or so. And they're going to be here hand selling, talking to people about it, answering questions, and just kind of giving you the finer points of it. But on the Standard, just a quick overview. London Dry Gin, Koki Italian Sweet Vermouth, and Scrappy's Aperitivo Bitters. So legit ingredients. On the Mezcal, we got 100% artisanal Mezcal from a 5th generation producer. Organic agave, no additives in either one of these things. And then Scrappy's Aperitivo, again, to kind of finish off the Campari element of it. The Mezcal won a gold at San Francisco in 2024. San Francisco is like kind of one of the last few award programs that I really pay attention to because they're double blind. They don't know what they're drinking. They don't know who's in the contest. So when you win something there, it's looked at pretty legitimately. 25%, 26%, so full strength cocktails. These are not watered down. This is about as close to a real cocktail in a can as you can possibly get. We got them in little 4-packs, single servings. They're cute and they're really good. So give those a shot if you're a Negroni fan.
And we tried these when we were going to bring them in, and I can tell you they're fantastic. The Mezcal Negroni is awesome. I was kind of a little suspect, like, what?
Yeah, well,
but it just goes well together. I mean, I thought it was great. It was my favorite out of all of them. But the other ones were all good too. And my assumption would be what we're going to do single serve, just like we do with Tip Top and some of the other ones. We just got them in today though, so.
Yeah, Mezcal, if you like a smoky Negroni, there's a lot of nice bars around town that have gotten into the Mezcal Negronis in the last couple of years, and they're killer. These guys continue that tradition. Really nice stuff, a little bit smokier. If you're not into the smoke, try the standard. Both are great. And again, owners will be here in about a half an hour to talk to you about it if you have any questions. So.
Well, Andrew, pleasure as always, man. And
always.
Thanks for coming down and giving all this great information. And thank you guys for watching Whiskey Wednesday.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers.